Hey there everybody, it's Mark Crowley back with another how to draw video. I did a video a while back about how to draw hoodies. I really enjoyed doing that one, so I thought why not do another one. There's always more things you can cover within any given subject, and so I'm going to start by showing how to draw a chibi character wearing a hoodie. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this area and get into it. Okay, so you can see I started to lightly indicate the outlines of a chibi character, and you could go ahead and plug in your own character for this lesson. You don't need to feel like you have to copy exactly what I have here, but let's go ahead and start drawing the hoodie. She's got the hoodie up and over the top of her head, and you can see I'm doing sort of like a slight angle there at the top. I find that helps in terms of conveying the sense of that opening, especially she's in a sort of a three-quarter view. So if you can get these lines at the top and then these two lines on the sides to kind of come together, just down at a point right, around the chin, these, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines all together are kind of forming that basic shape of the opening of her hoodie. That must be a hexagon? It's got to be. It's not a pentagon. It's certainly not an octagon. In any case, let's go ahead and draw the rest of her hood here. Now, you can make this really huge if you want to. I'm kind of going, hopefully not too exaggerated. And I like to put a little bit of a line right across the center of any hood that I draw, so that it shows sort of the surface that it's turning in space. And I find that just that one little added line there can help to convey the surface. Now, I thought I would try something different with this that I didn't do, definitely, in my previous video, and that was to do some cute little ears, like teddy bear ears or whatever on the top. Chibi characters, let's face it, it's all about the cute. It's all about the cute. When you're doing chibi, you gotta bring the cute. So I'm doing the ears here with the guy in Brooklyn who's really into chibi characters. Yeah, chibi. I'm all about the chibi. Anyway, so I do the ears, making sure that they are at the same level. That's one thing to pay attention to. Although, since this is 3/4, she's sort of turned away from us. This ear is going to be slightly larger than the other. And, there's all kinds of different ways. You could even do bunny ears or whatever. But I decided to go for this sort of classic teddy bear shape. They almost look like donuts jammed into the surface of the hood, if that helps you to remember that. And then we're coming down here. I'm going to add a couple of these pull strings. They taught me last time in the comments section what these are called. I hope it was pull strings. I am notorious for just never knowing the name for anything. And they teach me, my good patient viewers, they teach me everything and then I promptly forget. Anyway, this is supposed to be mainly about the hoodies, but I thought I'd go ahead and show you, since it's a cute little chibi character, show you the whole rest of this hoodie outfit that she's wearing, not just the actual hood itself, and show you how we can add just a few little extra lines here, wrinkles, across the elbow area, say, just to sort of finish off that feeling of this being cloth. And then I always like to just very lightly indicate the tips of the hands, like they're sort of almost coming out of the very edge of the cuff, so that you barely see them. That kind of adds to the cuteness, I think. In any case, I'm going to go ahead now and switch to my black Prismacolor to do the final line work and take this to the end. But of course, as I always do, whether people like it or not, I'm going to do it in time-lapse so as to get a bunch of things into this video. Alright, so that just about takes care of it for this drawing here, except, of course, for the blushies. Can't forget those, or my viewers will revolt and come after me. I have noticed with a lot of chibi blushies, though, that instead of being the sort of series of lines, very often they're these little ovals, sort of pale pinkish ovals if you're doing full color, or in my case, it ends up being just sort of the gray of the pencil lead. But let's go ahead and move on to the next drawing. Okay, so we did the chibi version of a hoodie. This time we're going into the totally opposite direction, and that is to draw a more serious looking hood. I wanted to do a figure, and I had even mentioned this in the previous video on this subject, that sometimes you want to draw a figure that has a hood over his or her head, and you can't even see the eyes. You know, it's completely obscuring the whole upper part of the head, and so that's what we're going to be doing here. Now notice I drew sort of an indication of the head shape, and then I'm putting the hood just a little bit outside, you know, above that line, just to, you know, realistically allow space for his hair or whatever. And I'm beginning just by creating a loose outline. Now I'm going to go ahead, for my purposes, and go ahead and do the actual opening of the hood way down low here, so that, as I said, we're not going to be able to see his eyes at all. And, you know, the whole purpose of this style, I think, is to create this feeling of mystery, you know, to create a character that looks very intense, maybe a little scary. And this is based a little bit off of the sort of Assassin's Creed look, though, of course, I'm not doing the exact shape, the more elaborate shape of that particular style of hood, but something along those lines where you can't see the guy's face. And notice that in this version, there's quite a lot of space down here beneath the chin. That would not always be the case. You know, it all depends on the cut of the cloth and so forth. But to make it a little bit interesting, I decided to make it a slightly off-center. And you'll see as I add more details how that works out. But I thought there could be maybe two seams that come up from here and sort of work their way across the upper surface of the head. And again, these lines like this help to convey the surface of the cloth, as well as, you know, they become a sort of a design element in the actual drawing. But I find that without these lines going across, you are robbed of a certain tool that allows you to convey the surface. And so I'm adding even a second line here that comes across and adds further definition. Definition, see, that's another word instead of indication. People are just all over my words now. It's like if I say delineate, they always point it out. You said delineate instead of indicate. What's going on? Have you abandoned the word indicate, man? Keep the faith. I'm a little bit crazier than usual today. Usually I wait until the last third of each video to lose my mind. This time I'm getting a head start. Anyway, having drawn the opening, it allows me to sort of build the excess cloth around the neck, around that opening, and you can see a whole bunch of lines begin to form down here that are conveying the various wrinkles and so forth. I find that, you know, most hoodies coming across the top of the head, there's going to be relatively few wrinkles. There may be something up at the top depending on the cut of the cloth, but most of the wrinkles are going to come down here around the neck. And it can be kind of just trial and error of putting in lines and taking them back out and so forth until you find the combination that you like. Now, I said earlier that I decided to make the central line of his cloak a little bit off-centered, like it kind of got tugged off to one side or something, or, you know, again, it could be a little bit of that three-quarter view thing, but I think adding something like this and pulling it off to one side sometimes can be an interesting, make the drawing a little more interesting. If you like it to be a little more like right down the middle, by all means, go ahead and do that. In which case you would kind of follow more the nose through the center like that. Well, I think we've got the major lines here. I'm going to go ahead and do this in time lapse, but I think if you hit pause at various points in the shading, you can kind of get a sense of the choices that I'm making, and if you want to try to replicate that in you know, a drawing. A lot of people like to sort of follow along with these lessons line by line, and then other people, which I always like to see, take their own characters and just use these lessons as a way of enhancing characters of their own creation. So let's go ahead and kick it into time lapse to finish off this drawing. Okay, so that kind of finishes it up for this one. As you can see, the shading is pretty crucial in terms of conveying the form of this hood. And if you want some pointers on how to figure out shadows and light sources and stuff like that, I'll go ahead and link to this other video that I did not so long ago, and I used a robot as an example to talk about light sources and where the shadows fall and different stuff like that. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the last drawing. Alright, so we went from the cute to the dark and intense, and now back to the cute again. It's kind of like boy, girl, boy. I always go cute, dark, cute. Maybe. I'm not really sure if that's a pattern I do or not, but it's working for me on this video, I hope. We got the drawing of the girl with the cute pigtails, and what I decided to do for this one is to show you what does a hoodie look like when it is, you know, taken down off the head and then seen from the side, dropping back, you know, off the shoulders. So I'm going to show you the basic shape, and then we'll get into the details of it. You know, she's taken the hood off of her head, and it's just sort of flopping around in the back, and I think that's actually part of the one of the appealing looks of the hoodie and why it's a popular fashion choice, is because it looks good, of course, when it's covering the head, but it also looks kind of attractive even when it's pulled down off the head and sort of back flopping off the shoulders, as I'm saying. Now, I've got the basic shape of it here. You can see it has this vaguely triangular look, but I'm going to zoom in right now to show you some of the details of where I'm going to place the wrinkles right here. Okay, now you could just sort of leave it like this if you wanted to, but I think to make it seem a little more convincingly made of cloth, it needs a few wrinkles. So I'm breaking it into maybe 3 parts here by way of these diagonal lines. And watch what happens when you get to the edge here, and this is maybe something that extends to any drawing of cloth, is you often get these interlocking folds, you know. So this line is coming in here, it's creating a fold that folds back like this across and sort of hooks back again, and then you have to sort of respond to that with this edge line, the contour, and so, you know, there's not laws of how to do this. It's sort of something you develop over time, and by no means am I saying that this is perfectly rendered, but you can see how this helps to add to that sense of this being made of cloth. And for some reason I always like to do a sort of a double line at the edge of like a cuff or some piece of material like this that helps, for me, convey that feeling that it's sewn at the edge, you know, sort of like a seam, or what do you call that? I never. Again, he never knows the word for anything. Why do we keep watching his videos? In any case, I'm going to add, while we're down here, just a few extra wrinkles across the shoulder, even though that's really, you know, I guess technically speaking, not the subject matter at hand, but why not? We have... we can go ahead and get into that and show you again how this process of sort of playing around with various diagonal lines that help convey wrinkles on a piece of cloth. And you know, you don't want to overdo it. That's I have been guilty of that in the past, of going too far in terms of adding wrinkles to stuff, but certainly it does help. Oh, and here's the drawstrings, pull strings, stringy things coming off of the hood. And you know, that's the thing, is I could learn the names for these things, but that would just, you know, it wouldn't have that krilly video feel if I knew the names. See, I'm doing it on purpose, people, I swear. In any case, time for me to go ahead and do the final line work on this. I'm going to pull back and pull out the trusty black Prismacolor to finish off this last drawing. Okay, well, there you have it, the last drawing there. I hope you enjoyed that, and some of the shading, again, it all goes in time lapse, but if you hit the pause button and so forth, you can hopefully see the various locations where I decide to add shading. And of course, we got to add the blushes. If you don't add the blushes, the drawing is not finished. So, back to the crazy. fake British accent. I think the English people hate it when Americans do fake English accents. So I should probably stay away from that one. Let me know what you think, my English viewers. If you like it or if it hurts your ears, basically. For now, though, let's go ahead and pull back and show you all the different drawings. Okay, so there you have all the different drawings together. I hope you found this video useful, and let me know if you enjoyed it. I like doing these sort of hoodie-based videos. They're a lot of fun to do. Let me know of other topics you'd like to see me cover. But for now, let's go ahead and thank anyone who has supported me by getting any of my books. We've got Meeky Falls, we've got Brody's Ghost. Hey, I saw this in my local Barnes & Noble the other day. That made me very happy. Also saw this in the very same Barnes & Noble, Mastering Manga, right there on the shelf. Thanks so much to those of you who have supported me that way. But for now, let's go ahead and lay down the pencil. I want to thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I'll be back with another one real soon.